Hi everybody and welcome to another vlog with me. We are on Friday. I think I'm having a bit of a play around with days at the moment to see what works in terms of my routine, and also maybe people will pick this up on a different day. I used to do them on a Monday, so let's see if Friday is the day for me going forward. Today I want to bring something called speaking your truth. In my case, I guess it's speaking my truth. And the reason why I am bringing this today is because this has been one of the areas of my life that I have really decided to work with. I think I'd spent a number of years oscillating between speaking my truth and then something happening around that. And when I'm saying something, generally speaking, it used to feel like a negative experience. So say I was honest about something, and then perhaps my honesty backfired on me, and the person that I'm being honest to, for example's sake, gets defensive, and it doesn't quite go how I had anticipated. So having, we all have situations like this where we are sharing something that's true to us and it doesn't land well with the other person. And I think for me, there'd been many occasions previously where this has happened. And then I think I started getting to a point where I was like, what's the point? Why upset the apple cart? And I guess what I want to say about that is that sometimes there are situations where it's better to just bite your lip and sit on whatever it is that you want to raise. And only you will know the judge of that. But there are some situations where if you don't, something's being lost. And I guess one of the things I was finding was that my identity was disappearing. And if you haven't been following me so far, welcome to my vlogging journey. I'm on this kind of exploration with life, and I've stopped working a couple of years ago to kind of really throw myself into that exploration more fully. I didn't realise that at the time. And yeah, like one of the reasons why I decided to stop working was because I just didn't know who I was anymore. And one of the contributing factors around that is not speaking my truth. Because when you don't say how you really feel about something, how something is making you feel, regardless of how the outcome's going to be, you're denying yourself your identity. At least I feel I have done that a lot in the past. And that's what one of the reasons that led to me going on this exploration was to work out who I am. And a lot of this I already know about me, but it's not just about what you know, it's about trusting what you know, if that makes sense. And being confident enough to go, I am going to say what I really think about this situation, however it pans out. And I've noticed the more I've started doing that over the last couple of years, particularly since I've stopped working and honed in on speaking my truth being one of the areas, I have noticed what comes after is a whole different experience to what I used to have before, to some extent. It's quite a liberating feeling, isn't it, when you actually do what's true to you and speak your truth. There is this kind of, you know, like I can just let it out and stop thinking so much about how this is going to work out. Just trust that what you are bringing is important, is worthwhile, is valued. And when you put that energy into your sharing, instead of, for example, in the past, maybe I would have had a defensive energy about me. Someone had said something, I'm not in agreement with it, and I'm coming from a defensive position. And then obviously that interaction is going to be less nourishing, less liberating, for example, less positive. Yeah, like when I've had situations like that and I've walked away from them, I've been like, oh, that was pointless, or upset. That happens quite a lot to me. And obviously this kind of sense of I didn't get what I wanted out of it. And I guess that's another part of this share for me, is that letting go of expectations, so hard. so hard. But if you're just going into it with that like pure-heartedness, you know, it will go how it will go. I don't need to worry that this is gonna blow up. And if it does, that's part of my learning here. This is all coming from an experience I had this week. And it was an interaction with someone, and I felt like, oh, not again. You know, here I am. Don't really feel like I'm being heard, valued. And this is a cycle. Like, why am I in this cycle? And there's all this kind of resentment started rising in me, and also feeling quite beaten down by just that one interaction, because it was a heavy kind of feeling that I've been carrying around for many years about not feeling valued, not feeling heard. And when, you know, that interaction happened, the same, like, you know, digging up the same things around how I feel and the outcome of a situation like that, you know, rather than looking at it in a one-off manner, which is quite hard to do. And yeah, like I was just like, oh, here we go again, and what am I doing here, and why am I here, and feeling quite upset and downbeat about it. And the reason why I'm kind of going down the actual thing that happened this week is because I could have just carried on in that loop, which I've been in before, but something clicked in me this time that I think has been different from various other times. Because I mean, this thing that happened, by the way, it was so minor, it was so small, but for me, it escalates. It becomes like a much bigger thing because of my previous experience, and also the way in which I'm perceiving it. You know, it's almost like a victim mentality, and I'll be quite open and, you know, vulnerable about that. Yeah, I I am and have walked around with the victim t-shirt on, and I'm learning to take it off. And so that's why it becomes like a heavy experience. But yeah, there was a moment where the thing had happened and I was thinking about it afterwards, where I was just like, why? I'm asking the question these days, why am I back here again? Before, I used to just not notice as much that here's that same pattern, here's the same emotions arising in me, and, you know, not feeling heard, not being valued. And when I questioned it, I was like, well, hang on. Life is teaching me something here. And maybe it's an opportunity for me to move with this differently this time. Because the other times where it's been something on a minor side, I might have just brushed it under the carpet. But in saying that, it wouldn't have stayed under the carpet, you know? Like, maybe another thing may have happened with the same person or the same, you know, place, and it would have been like, oh, here we go again. And that same, you know, back into that cycle. So, but I wouldn't have addressed it, basically. That's what I'm saying. In other times in my life, I wouldn't have decided to do, you know, take action. I wouldn't have taken action around it. And that's what I'm getting at. So I decided to confront the individual. But I came from a place of, I'm recognizing that there's a cycle with me, and I want to stop this. You know, I'm done with this cycle. And what then unfolded was a really honest, authentic, wholehearted conversation. And this person I don't know very well, so it opened, because I was opening up, they opened up. And that was really lovely. Like, it wasn't what I mean, like I said, I'm trying to be less expectant of how is this going to go. And it was actually a really, you know, lovely experience that I got to be heard. I got to hear how they were feeling at the time and their, you know, experience generally. And what it did is that it brought us together. It brought us closer as human beings, as two energies, two souls. It just, you know, instead of it could have gone like this, where I've had the interaction, I've been left feeling a certain way, and I'm just like drifting and drifting, and then maybe started coming back closer at some point, maybe not, maybe just carried on drifting. But by taking action with this matter, it's created a bond. Now, I don't know how long this person's going to be in my life for, but what it's doing is it's like, I'm not looking to divide here. I'm not looking to like go in the other direction. I'm not looking to run. I'm looking to face into it. And by facing into it, this is happening. And, you know, I want to put a little bit of a caveat around this, because actually sometimes when you do this confrontation and, you know, it's not expected the other end, and even if you do it in a nice way, it might not go well. that's life, isn't it? Sometimes it can't go your way. This person happened to be very open to my feedback, and that helps. So it does require the energy on the other side and the person on the other side to be willing to listen. But even if they're not, I think this is what I want to get across. Even if they're not, I think it's really important to still speak your truth and to not take that as a negative experience or a negative outcome, and therefore not wanting to go near it and shying away from doing it again. So yeah, I think, and I have in the last year had quite one that really comes to mind, which I won't go into now because this will then turn into a much longer vlog. And that person wasn't that receptive to what I was saying, but I skipped down the road afterwards because it, like I said earlier, it was this liberating feeling. There was this, I've spoken my truth. I've said what I want to say here, and I've done it from a place of good intention because I'm a good person. I believe that, like deep down inside. But what the other person's carrying on the other side, I don't have control over. And if they're going to come at it in a defensive manner, they're going to come at it in a defensive manner. But just trusting that it's important to share because that's part of who you are as a person and your identity. That's one of the key things that I've really started to explore and trust. I think I'll leave it there. It was quite deep. I felt like quite a deep conversation today. Maybe Fridays are the new Mondays for me. Let's see. But thank you for joining me. Thank you for being here. If you haven't already done so, subscribe and join me for some more riffs about life and our experiences with it, my take on it, and I'd love to hear what your experiences around speaking your truth have been, and if there's anything that you have taken away from this or would like to explore further, let's have a chat. All right, well, have a lovely weekend, and I will catch you, don't know, let's see what day next week. Take care. Speak soon.